Good morning, traders, and welcome to Phoenix Blue's morning update. Today's Thursday, 27th April 2017. My name is Nishal Patel. Hope you're very well this morning. Um, give you a quick morning update on what's transpired and what we should be looking for. First things first, before we turn attention to the charts, just having a look at the news announcements that are key for us today. We've seen the Bank of Japan already have their policy rate and their policy statement on monetary policy come out on the early hours of the morning for us here in London. Everything looks to be unchanged on that side. We do have the Central Bank of Australia, the Governor of the Central Bank of Australia, Lowe speaking in just over an hour and a half. And then that's followed by the ECB press conference with the minimum bid rate later on this afternoon, with the fortnightly unemployment claims coming out on the USD. So a fair amount of key announcements that we need to be aware of, especially while trading today. And let's have a look at how it should materialize on our charts. Now, first things first, we just have a quick look at cable here on this weekly time frame. For those that saw last week's last week's video, they would have seen that I highlighted a key area on this weekly time frame, highlighted by this blue box. Last week literally came up to the high of that blue box and then fell back down after testing pretty much the low of that box, and we've seen the whole of this week has been within that box. And if I flick down onto a daily time frame, you can see the degree of accuracy on that. We've seen a break of that, but most certainly what we've seen is we haven't seen that much movement towards this week, and most certainly still within that key area or key zone. And what we'll most certainly see is probably see that across the board, and no doubt many of you would have seen that, especially after the gap that we saw on the Monday on many of our charts. And this is a key example. Looking at the euro right now, currently floating at 1.0903, coming up to that high that's been highlighted by, again, that pink colored level, which again was highlighted on previous morning updates, coming up to that high of 0.950, which are tested repetitively this week, and then coming short of it. We've obviously had some key news from the Trump administration in the US, and finally they have given some information in terms of fiscal reform, in particularly fiscal reform that would affect corporations and large businesses. The thing is that the markets haven't seen that as a clear indication of what's going to happen. There's definitely no clarity on how it's going to be, how a lot of these reforms will come about. So it just seems as if Donald Trump is trying to get some information out on fiscal reform, as the markets have been awaiting that since November 2016, when he's come into administration and all of these golden promises being bandied around. And obviously 100 days is 100 days of Trump being in administration elapses this Saturday, and I no doubt it will be a benchmark of how he has performed so far. And I think that policy statement, or that one-page document that was released yesterday, will just try and give him some grounding to say, yeah, I've tackled my objectives. But unfortunately, the markets don't see it that way. There's no clarity on where and how. And most importantly, nothing is bound legally right now. So right now, I think the markets are still in the dark, and that is most certainly being shown up on our charts. the yen, if we just move over to the yen, and this, we're just having a look at the 4-hourly chart, just going to move over to this daily time frame right now. And after yesterday's low test that we had here, just in the thick of quite a few daily moving averages right now, in particularly consolidating between the 200 and the 100 moving average. And right now the yen floating at 111.20s. So not going anywhere too fast, too quickly. A mover that we have seen is on the Australian dollar, and again, something that we've most certainly looked at. Right now, the Australian dollar coming up and well, coming down, I should say, and hitting this low on this 50% retracement off its weekly swing. Right now, floating at 0.7480s, low 80s, so 81 there. And then moving on to some of the commodities, we just have a look at where the price of WTI is. WTI is back below the 50s. And in 48.93, so just very close to $49 per barrel. Having a look at gold now, which should be quite interesting, in particularly the fact that we've had a risk on, risk off sentiment flick about like a switch or like a yo-yo over the course of this last week and a half. Gold has come back down and sitting at just above 1260. Right now floating at 1264.80s. Just sitting on that level that's been highlighted there, which has actually been taken off a weekly time frame. So coming off its highs of its 1280. So around $20 per troy ounce. Cheaper than it was around 8 days ago. Gold on the bounce. Now, guys, as always, if you would like further information on how you'd like to increase profitability potentially on your trading or consistency on your trading, or even understand how to trade yourself, feel free to come and join us at our seminar that we regularly hold every month. But we do have one coming up in May, the first week of May, in fact, on Tuesday the 9th of May. If you'd like any information on that, feel free to send us an email at info@phoenixblue.co.uk. Alternatively, visit our website at phoenixblue.co.uk, and there will be a registration form for you. Until next time, guys, happy trading. Goodbye.